All right, so welcome to this deep dive. You've sent us something interesting this time around.
Yeah.
It's just the images from Charlie Mackesy's book, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, and there are no words,
No words.
like at all, just pictures.
It's wild.
Yeah, so what we want to do today is really dig into what these visuals alone can tell us.
Yeah.
What do they communicate directly to you, like without any text to kind of guide us, you
Well,
know?
it's fascinating, right? Because it forces us to exercise our visual literacy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're so used to having text accompany images that when you strip that away, you're really forced to focus on the fundamental elements of the drawings themselves. And what immediately struck me was the artist's use of line.
Okay.
It's often very simple, even sparse, but incredibly expressive
Yeah.
at conveying emotion and character.
Absolutely. Like, think about the boy's posture.
Yes.
For instance, it often conveys this sense of like thoughtfulness, even vulnerability. Or the way the mole is frequently drawn smaller and with these big wide eyes.
Yeah.
What feelings does that evoke for you, even without knowing their specific roles from the book?
Right.
These visual cues, they start to paint a picture.
They do. They totally do. And it's also interesting to consider how Mackesy uses proximity and orientation to suggest relationships.
Oh, yeah.
When two flags are drawn close together, perhaps even touching it implies this intimacy or a sense of support.
Right.
And then when they're facing away from each other, separated by a large space, that might suggest loneliness, or maybe they're facing a challenge together. And I think the viewer, you become active in constructing those potential narratives.
You're totally right. There's one image I was thinking about earlier that really stuck with me.
Yeah.
It's two figures silhouetted against this huge open sky, and the space around them feels vast and maybe even a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
What is that kind of composition, the use of negative space? What does that communicate to you? It's amazing how much feeling can be packed into such a simple scene.
Well, it's fascinating because I think that negative space amplifies the figure's smallness.
Mm.
Maybe highlighting their vulnerability or even their search for something within that vastness.
Yeah.
And if we connect this back to like broader ideas of visual storytelling,
Yeah.
the way an artist frames their subject
Yeah.
can profoundly impact our emotional response.
Yes.
It directs our focus and influences how we interpret it.
Totally. And even the subtle use of color when it appears.
Oh, yeah.
It seems so significant, like a splash of bright color in an otherwise monochrome drawing
Yeah,
can really draw the eye.
it does.
And maybe even symbolize hope or a moment of joy.
Absolutely.
How do those small details, those visual details,
Yeah.
affect your reading of the image?
Yeah, they act as visual anchors,
Yeah.
guiding our emotions and adding these layers of meaning to the picture.
Yeah.
And it raises an important question as you look at these images. What specific details stand out to you?
Yeah.
Maybe a line, a shadow, the way two figures are positioned. And what interpretations do those details spark in your mind? Your own background, your own experiences inevitably shape that.
That's so true. So by looking closely at these wordless pages,
Yeah.
we can see how powerfully images communicate on their own.
Yeah.
They tap into our understanding of emotions, relationships, and even our place in the world, and it's often in very, very subtle ways.
It is.
And I think that's really cool. The meaning isn't dictated. It's something you actively participate in creating.
Right.
That's neat.
It really is. I think ultimately this whole exploration reminds us that visual communication is a fundamental language.
Mm-hmm.
Think about all the other visual cues we encounter daily. A gesture,
Yeah.
a facial expression, a
Right.
design of a space.
Yeah.
Could it be that these unspoken forms of communication carry a much deeper resonance and convey even more than we consciously acknowledge?
Yeah.
That's a thought worth holding on to.
I think so too.